Okay, now we're going to continue with the grouping method. Remember though, if you would prefer to work it by trial and error, that's great. You do not have to work it by the grouping method. Okay, so looking at this particular problem, 2x squared minus 3x minus 27, what you're going to do is take that 2 on the front and the negative 27 on the back, and that gives you a negative 54. You know here that your signs are going to be different, and since your signs are going to be different, you'll have to plan accordingly. I'm looking for a negative 3. So right now, let's just look at our factors of 54. They're 1 and 54. We'll put our signs in a little later. 2 times 27. 3 goes 18 times. 4 doesn't go. 6 times 9. Now I'm trying to get this group of numbers to give me a negative 3. So I know the numbers that I'm going to use are 9 and 6. So I know I'm going to use these numbers here, 9 and 6. But I have to go ahead at this point in this chart step and put my signs in. If I'm looking for a negative 3, that means the 9 needs to be negative and the 6 positive. So now then, let's rewrite our problem. Instead of writing negative 3, let's rewrite it with its new numbers. So I have 2x squared plus 6x minus 9x minus 27. If you put your negative 9 and your 6x in different orders, that's just fine. Now we can group it. In the first group, what they have in common is a 2 and an x. And when you take that out, it leaves you with x plus 3. In the second group, what they have in common is a 9. But remember, I'm going to take out my third sign, which happens to be negative. So I'm going to take out a negative 9. Taking out the negative, taking out the 9, leaves me with a plain x. I took out the negatives, so that leaves me with a positive 3. What these problems have in common now is an x plus 3, so I'm going to bring that to the front. And when I bring it to the front, what's left behind is 2x minus 9. And that's how you would work it using the grouping method. Now then, going back, we talked a lot about the hard trinomials. We worked them by trial and error, and we also worked them by grouping. In the rest of this section, I'm just going to work a few, probably by trial and error. My first problem is 2x squared minus 17xy plus 21y squared. Let's forget about the numbers for a second. If you have an x squared in the front, that's going to be x times x, and a y squared in the back is going to be y times y. So that's how we would handle that x squared and that y squared. My choices for 2 are just 2x times 1x, so I don't have to really worry about that one. But my choices for 21 I do have to worry with. They're 1 times 21 and 3 times 7. Now I'm going to take the 2 and multiply it times the larger terms of the red list and see what's my best choice. 2 times 21 is 42, and that seems really high. So 2 times 7 is 14, and that's a little closer. So let's try the 7 and the 3. So let's put in these numbers. I know they go in front of y because the 21 is in front of y, so the 3 and the 7 would go in front of y. Making our rainbows, I see that I would get a 14xy and I would get a 3xy. That looks great. I know that my signs are the same and they're both negative, so this would give me a negative 17xy. Same sign, both negative. So my final answer, without so many colors, is 2x minus 3y times x minus 7y. Okay, let's try a couple of others. Okay, so this first one is 3y squared minus 13y plus 4. My choices for 3 are 3 and 1. My choices for 4 are 4 and 1 and 2 and 2. Since 3 times 4 is close to 13, 3 times 4 is 12, it's close to 13, that means I'm going to use that combination first. So I'm going to try 3x and 1x, and I'm going to put my 4 and 1 in and try 4 and 1. When I make my rainbows, I get a 3x and I get a 4x. But then I see a problem. 3x plus 4x doesn't give me 13. So it's not a big deal. All I need to do there is start back over, and instead of, let's fix that color, instead of 4 and 1, let's switch them around. So I'm going to try the 3x and x, and instead of 4 and 1, let's try 1 and 4. Try my rainbows. This gives me a 12x, and the inner rainbow gives me a 1x, and 12 and 1 would give me 13. Now you see a problem with this one that you probably noticed all earlier. I started with y's and then I got into x's, and that's just because I'm used to using x's. So I apologize for that. We'll fix it in just a little bit. I know my signs are the same and they're both negative. So my answer for this problem would be 3x minus 1 times x minus 4. So let's go back and fix it. I put y's in there and I used x's. So let's just change this to an x really fast, and that would take care of it. I apologize for that. Okay, looking at this last one, it has a's on the front and b's on the back. My choices for 3 are going to be 3 and 1, and my choices for 14 are going to be 14 and 1 and 2 and 7. So if I tried 3 times 14, that's 42, and that's really, really big. And if I tried 3 times 7, that's 21, and that's really, really big too. So sometimes my little hint of trying the bigger numbers, sometimes it just doesn't work. But since 3 times 7 was a little smaller, and we know that there's understood to be a 1 in the middle, 3 times 7 was a little smaller, let's try that one. Now remember we have a squareds and b squareds, so we're going to try 3a times 1a. And for the b squared, let's try 7 and 2. So let's put in there a 7b and a 2b. My outside rainbow would give me 6ab. My inside rainbow would give me 7ab. So this looks great. Remember in the middle I'm looking for a negative 1ab. Since 7 is bigger, I need it to take the negative sign and 6 the positive. So 7 takes the negative sign, 6 is 3 times 2, it takes the positive sign. So your answer for this one is 3a minus 7b times a plus 2b. If you have any questions with these or if you need extra help, just inbox me or message me and I'll be glad to send you more examples.